I've tried to actually kind of stay away from it and not get tied up in it. But I'm sure by night I won't be able to sleep. And tomorrow morning I'll be smiling, my gut be growling and hurting, and tomorrow night I won't take me about Monday to realize it. But the big thing I'll realize then is I won't be going back, and then I don't know how that'll feel. I've never felt that now in 40-something years.
The memory of Paul William Bryant's last football game will be cherished for generations. History would be made on December 29, 1982, for on that date, an Alabama football team would play its final game coached by Paul Bryant. The 1982 Liberty Bowl would be his final moment of greatness. For fans everywhere, it would be a moment of triumph and tears. Liberty Bowl 1982 is brought to you by Federal Express Corporation, headquartered in Memphis, and by the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee was the proud home of the special 24th edition of the Liberty Bowl. The Fighting Illini of the University of Illinois and the Crimson Tide of the University of Alabama had been selected to be this year's combatants.
When I see you on the street.
The week of pre-game festivities included a trip to the Vapors nightclub, where both teams gathered to have a good time. The players provided the entertainment for the party.
Girl, do I do?
For both the Alabama players and the Illinois players alike, the Liberty Bowl was an important milestone. For the Crimson Tide, it was the Bears' last game. And for the Fighting Illini, it was a chance to show their talents to the nation. For both teams, the festivities proved to be a lot of fun. Dining at Fridays, the Alabama players reflected on the significance of the upcoming game.
Coach Bryant's last game as a head coach, it's hard to put in words exactly what it means to me, really. I'm just glad to be here and meet all these people in Memphis and having a good time.
I think the players' attitudes are geared toward wanting to win this last one for him. It's another opportunity for us to go out and display our talents and our abilities and among the people here in Memphis and across the nation.
It means a lot to go out and win on Coach Bryant.
Being Coach Bryant's last game, we're really fired up about it.
I kind of like our last big hurrah for, I think we got about 29 seniors on the team, so we're just going to go out and have a good time and hopefully send Coach Bryant away with a victory.
But before Coach Bryant's last game, there were many awards to be given out. After the black tie dinner, Bud Dudley, founder of the Liberty Bowl, presented the Bear with a special silver Liberty Bowl gift.
Well, Paul, this is just a small token of appreciation for what you have meant to the Liberty Bowl and what you have meant to me personally. We've known each other for about 30 years now, and a lot's happened to both of us, and I'm just thrilled to death that this is your last game and you decided to retire in the Liberty Bowl.
Thank you very much, Bud. I think you really bribed me for coming up to Philadelphia and freezing to death that time.
It was pretty cold, but
we enjoyed everything.
Tomorrow, I think we promise you some heat waves.
Well, we've had wonderful times here in the past, and we haven't always won, but we've had a wonderful time. And the Liberty Bowl has been great for us, and the people of Memphis, we love them. I like coming this time.
Well, you're a great gentleman, and I thoroughly enjoyed knowing you. Thank you.
So well known for its...
A record crowd of 2,000 gathered for the Liberty Bowl luncheon. Reverend Edmund P. Joyce, Executive Vice President of the University of Notre Dame, accepted a special award for academic excellence in the Irish football program. Illinois coach Mike White gave a moving tribute to the coach's coach.
The stature of a person, or the measure of success of a person, is the effect that that person has on other people. And you think about that. Whether you last on this earth 20 days or 20 years or 200 years, The mark of a person is the effect that that person has on other people. This is a historical event, and our respects for the gentleman up here, to me, is we can't say in words what he's meant to all of us. Coach Bryant, my respects to you, to the rest of you. Thank you very much.
Coach Bryant recalled Alabama's trip to the first Liberty Bowl in Philadelphia.
I guess it was 25 years ago, and someone said that we did start to play in the first Liberty Bowl, and in Philadelphia, we didn't have near as many people as we have here that day. But I'm telling you, it was cold, and I wasn't going to say, but at the half, this is true, some of them are probably in here, I didn't want to go back out. I asked a volunteer to start the second half. And it's one of the few games that I've ever seen that we were behind. I'm glad when it's over.
For the first time ever, two 300-win coaches shared the same podium as Bear Bryant presented Grambling's Eddie Robinson with the Liberty Bowl's Distinguished Service Award.
You know, Coach Bryant didn't tell you that at this particular time, when he walked into the banquet room and they gave him a standing ovation, and he was quite surprised, and a lady rushed through the crowd and said, Coach Bryant, can you really walk the waters? And he looked around to let me get a few steps away. He said, on some days I
can. Liberty Bowl week was a non-stop kaleidoscope of Memphis hospitality. It was truly a festive week to be treasured for years of enduring memories. Time arrived, and it was lights, cameras, and action. The emotions of both teams were at a fever pitch. Illinois was obviously excited to be in the nation's spotlight. Alabama was more controlled, more serious, feeling the pressure of the Bears' final game. Emotion and enthusiasm were obviously going to be factors in the 24th annual Liberty Bowl. All week long, Coach Bryant had tried to keep his team relaxed. The media pressure had affected everyone, and the distractions could hurt his team. With both teams emotionally charged, the stage was set for a classic battle. The historic game was formally opened with opera star Marguerite Piazza's stirring rendition of our national anthem. With a record-breaking crowd filling the stadium, and with TV hookups in all 50 states and 8 foreign countries, it was time for emotion to become action. On the first series of the game, the Tide's vaunted wishbone armor was pierced by Terry Cole's well-placed helmet. Illinois recovered the fumble and put the ball in the hands of their explosive offense, led by All-American quarterback Tony Eason. The holder of 9 NCAA records, Champagne Tony had rolled up an average of almost 300 yards of offense per game during the season. With a dazzling array of receivers like number 4 Mike Martin, the nation's second leading receiver, Eason and company gobbled up yardage like a giant Pac-Man. Within a couple of minutes, the orange and blue were looking for 7. And if not for a great play by defensive back Stan Gay, they might have scored. Mike Bass was forced to attempt a 34-yard field goal, but the Tide rolled all over his kick, and Mike Pitts recovered at the 24 to thwart Illinois' first drive. On the next play, the Bear took a page out of the Illinois playbook with a 50-yard bomb from Walter Lewis to Joey Jones. With Illinois off guard, Bama went back to the basics: solid blocking and plow horse running. Fullback Ricky Moore capped the drive with a jaunt into the end zone. 76 yards, 4 plays, 1 minute and 23 seconds later, and the score was 7-0. Coach Bryant and his staff knew that the key to stopping Illinois would be to shut down Tony Eason's aerial circus. The first step was to show that no matter how many times the ball was thrown, and no matter where it was thrown, the Tide would be there. Like haunting shadows, the Alabama defensive backs left no doubt in the receivers' minds that they would always be too close for comfort. Then versatile quarterback Walter Lewis gave the Illinois defense a taste of why the Tide wishbone was the most successful formation of the past decade. Just when the Tide seemed to be rolling, however, the Illini came fighting back with a set of outstanding defensive plays. Forced to punt, Malcolm Simmons hit a rocket shot straight up the center of the field. Special teams player Anthony Smiley, number 52, made Tide fans smile with pride by downing the ball on the 2-yard line. But Illinois' offense was designed to move long distances in a short period of time. Tony Eason showed why he was only the second passer in NCAA history to gain 3,000 yards in 2 different seasons. With his quick release and pinpoint accuracy, it looked like the Tide defense was going to have a very long day. On 3rd and 8, Eason hurled the ball toward the end zone, but an alert Jeremiah Castile was the unexpected receiver. Alabama's defense had bent, but not broken. On Illinois' next 2 possessions, Alabama defensive backs unleashed a series of ferocious, bone-crushing hits. Even though Eason was connecting with his receivers, there was no way that they could hold on to the ball under the fiercest assault that they had faced all year. Alabama's plan was to keep the pressure on all night. For if the pressure was unrelenting, Illinois would eventually make a fatal mistake. A moment's miscalculation by Eason allowed Alabama's all-time leading interceptor, Jeremiah Castile, to add another to his tally. On the next Bama possession, the Illinois defense held tough, and Eason and company started another drive downfield with 7 minutes left in the half. Passing on almost every down, the Illini powered downfield from their own 22-yard line down to the Alabama 1-yard line. Under pressure, Eason saw Oliver Williams wide open in the end zone, but Tide middle guard John Elias quickly filled the gap for the Tide's third interception. With less than 3 minutes left in the half, Walter Lewis uncharacteristically threw on first down. Illinois' Dennis Bishop gathered in the ball and rambled down to the 15-yard line. Illinois had a golden opportunity to even the score at 7-7. Coach White kept his excited troops level-headed and called on Joe Curtis to run the ball. Curtis fought his way down to the 2-yard line, and Illinois fans could sense a touchdown. Curtis pleaded to his sideline for another shot at the end zone, and Coach White and his staff gave the senior the green light. His short leap up the middle would turn out to be just enough for 6 points. Mike Bass hooked his extra point attempt wide to the left, and the score was 7-6. Although Illinois had racked up an incredible 247 yards passing, they had 4 crucial interceptions. Both teams had plenty of big plays, but Coach Bryant knew that his team would have to sustain momentum if he was to win his 323rd game. Halftime at the Liberty Bowl was a star-studded extravaganza. Movie actress Sybil Shepherd introduced the salute to Memphis music. The first guest of honor was country and western recording artist Charlie Rich, the Silver Fox. The gospel group, the Blackwood Brothers, harmonized next. Internationally acclaimed pianist Phineas Newborn made jazz magic out of the keyboard, and Jerry Lee Lewis rocked the stadium with his distinctive style. Finally, all of the artists joined blues singer Carla Thomas and Miss America Deborah Sue Moffett for the grand finale. Illinois returned to the field dreaming of future glory, while the Bear walked slowly back to the sidelines for the final 30 minutes of football to climax an illustrious career that had spanned 38 years. The Crimson Tide opened up the second half by igniting their high-powered offense. Jesse Bendross, number 88, emerged as Alabama's clutch receiver. Alabama put together a 10-play, 50-yard drive that was capped appropriately with a Jesse Bendross end around. Bama was fired up. A swarming rush collapsed on Tony Eason, and the battered quarterback could not remain in the game. His backup, junior quarterback Chris Jenner, had completed only one pass the entire 82 season. Unfortunately, his second completion fell into the ever-present arms of Jeremiah Castile, and yet another Illinois drive was abruptly brought to an end. Illinois would have to rebound.
Do your job, help them out with the next one. Do your job first. Hey, you gotta believe that. They're done.
The fourth quarter opened with a revitalized Tony Eason back at quarterback. Setting new Liberty Bowl records with every pass, Eason engineered a brilliant drive downfield, hitting 5 different receivers with 6 passes. Eason kept the 68-yard march with a strike to wide receiver Oliver Williams. The Eason to Williams connection fell short on a 2-point conversion. But with the score now at 14-12, the orange and blue were well within striking range of the Crimson Tide.
2 points down, we're coming back! Tony! Let's go, Tony! Go get him!
To keep the ball out of Eason's hands, Alabama turned to its stable of thoroughbred running backs to grind up yardage and the clock. Bama bulled its way down to the goal line in 11 plays. Frosh sensation Craig Touchdown Turner took the ball the last and most important yard. With Turner's extra effort leap into the end zone, things looked good for the Tide. But the Fighting Illini came right back downfield to set up Mike Bass for a 23-yard field goal.
Bass, well kicked. Bass kick. It's good. They score with 2 minutes, 12 seconds remaining. Alabama 21, Illinois 15.
On the next Alabama series, Waller Lewis looked for a receiver, but found them well covered. He turned upfield to run the ball, but Ed Brady popped the ball out of his grasp, and Terry Cole pounced on the loose ball. With less than 5 minutes left in the game, the Illini had the ball on the Tide 24. For the Alabama defense, it was the moment of truth, and they responded by swarming over Eason and forcing him out of the game for the second time. Coach White turned again to junior quarterback Chris Jenner. Alabama's pressure defense had left Tony Eason bruised and stunned. Now Illinois would have to go on without their leader. Jenner's second pass attempt was snared by linebacker Eddie Lowe, who rambled 17 yards up the field with the interception. All Alabama had to do now was to run down the clock. But the Illinois defense held tough, and the Tide could not get a first down. The Illini got the ball back with 1:43 left on the clock. If they could drive downfield and score, the game would be theirs. Incredibly, Tony Eason was back at quarterback. Eason looked awesome, quickly moving the Illini 51 yards downfield. Just when it looked like Eason would go all the way, the Tide defense put a decisive end to his heroics. Alabama's relentless pursuit had devastated the Illini. With 35 seconds left on the clock, linebacker Robbie Jones brought down the final curtain on Illinois. Alabama's domination had been impressive. For although Eason had shattered the Liberty Bowl records with his 423 yards passing, Illinois had only 15 points on the board. Alabama's 21-15 win was much more than Coach Bryant's 323rd career victory. It was the end of an era. A worldwide audience of millions had shared the thrill of witnessing one of the most historic games of college football. After the game, hundreds of television and newspaper reporters packed the post-game press conference tent to record the final tribute to Paul William Bryant.
How about me being the first to publicly congratulate Bear Bryant? I think that, I don't think we disappoint the fans, Coach. Huh?
You sure don't think so. You sure y'all disappoint me, I think.
But I think at a time like this, maybe I've spoken for coaches all over America all week. And now I'll say it again. We're losing a great guy here. And I think it's fitting that he wins his last game. I'm not particularly excited about it. Let's set the record straight. But I think it's obvious that maybe this was meant to be. Alabama played hard. It was a great physical game. It was a game of some great individual efforts and some great team play. And all I can say, Coach, is best of luck. And we're going to miss you in the coaching profession. And I feel honored that I was able to be the guy that played against you in your last game.
28 days after the 1982 Liberty Bowl, Paul Bear Bryant died. So ended in tears a life of triumph. Liberty Bowl founder Bud Dudley expressed the following sentiments about Paul Bryant. Coach Paul Bear Bryant's name was synonymous with perfection, with excellence, and his trademark was integrity and compassion. Few men have enriched the lives of so many by motivation, inspiration, encouragement, and strength. Today, there is a tremendous void in our ranks, a shattered star in our constellation. But the warm and vibrant image of Coach Bryant stands engraved in our minds and deep within our hearts. The warmth and affection Coach Bryant had for his fellow man, the dignity of his carriage, and the contagious cordiality of his smile magnetized every gathering of people from the moment he entered the room. To all who knew him, he gave a matchless talent for life, and he radiated a strength of character and mind that excelled any we can imagine garnered in one individual. His achievements and his influence can never be forgotten as long as they play a game called football. Liberty Bowl 1982 has been brought to you by the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Memphis and by Federal Express Corporation, headquartered in Memphis.